Hello and welcome back to the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast. I'm your host, as always, Calvin. Tonight I'm joined with Charlie. How you doing, Charlie?
I'm all right, mate. Nice to be back at the football last night, but apart from that, doing all right. How are you?
Good stuff, mate. I'm sound. I am sound. Jack, how are you, mate?
I'm fine. It's been a busy weekend and a busy week coming up for me. So I've not had much time to focus on Hibs. Obviously, Sunday, Edinburgh City were playing St Mirren and won 15-1 in Paisley. And then obviously Hibs women were playing. And then there was yesterday night where we've been preparing for Celtic in the Cup on Wednesday. So we're getting sick of the sight of Celtic at this rate because City are playing Celtic in the Cup tomorrow. So it's been a busy week, but it's great to have Hibs back, even if the result wasn't that great against Celtic yesterday at Parkhead.
Exactly. So we'll just jump straight into it. So Celtic 2, Hibs 0. Charlie, you were at the match. Unfortunately, I never went to the match. I couldn't make it. What's your initial reaction to the game, mate? How did you see it unfold?
I thought for large parts of the game I could see that we looked all right. I thought for the most part we controlled the ball really well. When I say controlled the ball really well, when we weren't passing the ball away, I thought when we actually got the ball down and looked to play, we looked very good. And it's the style of play that Maloney's obviously trying to implement, but very, very few players get pass marks last night for me. I think there was a lot of people in that team who for my money shouldn't be in that team going forward. I think
Who's your pass marks going to?
Dre Wright and Rocky Bashiri and James Scott when he come off the bench. That's the only.
What about Cadden?
Cadden. I thought Cadden looked all right, and Boyle tried his hardest as always, but apart from that, mate, I think I think there's very, very few pass marks for last night.
And Jack, how did you see it, mate?
Obviously, I didn't get a chance to watch the game. I just caught the highlights after it, and I've really just sort of go along with what Charlie's saying. Really, I know it's a common theme, me agreeing with Charlie on here, but no, I think we were good on the ball. I've got to say that, keeping possession, which is good. I think that's what you need to do. Unfortunately, we're not doing anything with that possession, and as we know, if we're watching teams like Man City, you can have all the possession you want, and it still can just nothing's going to come of it. And I think that's what the problem was. There's too many sideways and backwards passes last night for me. And I think that's still the Jack Ross in the team. To me, that's what it is. It's still the Jack Ross sort of ethos. It's going to take a wee while for Maloney to really implement his style onto these guys. And I think that's it. And for me, the formation, just to sort of say, I think it's good that he wants us to be playing open. But when you play a team against Celtic and you're open like that, they're going to get chances, and Celtic are a very clinical side, and we aren't. But yeah, I think that my players that got pass marks for us on the highlights, Dre Wright, I think he's like a new player under Maloney for me. I've got to say, Bushiri looked decent. I think first sort of from what I saw in the highlights, first sort of wee while of the game, he looked a bit out of his depth. Then he came into it, which is good. So I think Bushiri looked excellent. Well done, because it's a tough place to make your debut, Parkhead. Unless you're a Japanese player playing for Celtic, then it's brilliant being at Parkhead. You know what I mean? But I think Bashiri looks excellent. The guy's a unit. I mean, I was impressed with him. Cadden, I thought Cadden had a good game. Cadden's a really reliable option for us. I'm really impressed with Cadden the past couple of games. And then I think Boyle always gives it a good effort. So yeah, those were the players who got pass marks. I mean, overall, I think there's good signs. We're passing the ball about well, and I think we're beginning to look a bit more open, begin to look a bit more sort of like we're going on to Maloney style. But I still think there's elements of the old regime there that are just going to take time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's going to take a little while. It's really frustrating for me though, is these lads have got a new manager, and I know they've not been with him for long, but you just need to get out of that mindset of going backwards and sideways, because it's not going to help, especially against Celtic. So yeah, I think there's a wee bit of cause for concern with that, but at the same time, I've seen some okay moments, and players like Dre Wright are improving, which is good.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think that's one of the things that's been most frustrating is the last couple matches, especially under the Jack Ross regime, is there is a lot of backwards and sideways, and it is frustrating to watch, extremely frustrating. And I think Maloney's trying to do that when he's went to Celtic Park, because obviously trying to keep possession of the ball and keep us in the match. I can understand that. In terms of Bashiri, you know, a lot of chat online was that he had a bit of a shaky start, which of course we'll come to, but then sort of, you know, Maloney said in his post-match interview that he hadn't played and hadn't had a 90 minutes in quite a long time, so he was fairly pleased with what he's seen from him. So just to run through the lineup, was there any surprises? I'll quickly run through. You had Macy in goals, a back three of Doig, Hanlon, Bushiri. You had Campbell, Doyle, Hayes, Newell, and Cadden across the midfield. The Dre Wright sitting in front of them, and it looks like Kevin Nisbet and Martin Boyle up top. What were your thoughts on the lineups, lads? Was there any surprises?
I was surprised. Oh, sorry, go on, Jack.
Sorry, Charlie. Jeez, for amateur hour here. Nah, I'm kidding. But for me, the surprise was, I think the main surprise for me was no Mueller. I know his match sharpness might be a problem. He's not played since the MLS ended, and that's Maloney's call. He'll be working with him on the training group. I was really hoping to see Mueller, but fair play. Like I said, Dre Wright's like a new player. Apart from that, it's the lineup I expected with the suspensions we have. Tate not being on the bench was a surprise to me until I found out he was ill, and then it made sense. So he had a wee illness, so hopefully he's fine for the Cove game. But yeah, I think it's as I expected. And obviously I did my own lineup, and particularly I was sent into the WhatsApp, and you guys, I was so close. You know, I was so close. I even had the shape right and everything, and I was so close. I was just off the mark with Wright going in for Mueller. But I think fair play if Maloney sees Wright improving and Mueller's maybe not as up to scratch as he should be, maybe he's not as sharp as he should be, then that's fair play. You put Dre Wright in there.
Yeah, I get the impression that Mueller probably is match fit. I'd imagine. I think he's probably sharp. I just think for me, I think starting at Celtic Park on your debut is quite a tough, maybe quite a big ask. But Charlie, what did you think of the lineup, mate? Any surprises?
I was surprised he persisted with Dre Wright, but like obviously he got past match for me last night, so you know I was all right there. I think Lewis Stevenson not being starting was a big surprise for me because you know I think we've seen that the past couple of times he's played really well, and you know personally I think he's better than Doig. So I would probably play him more often, but you know, and like you're saying, I'm surprised that Mueller never even got off the bench. You know, if we're bringing Stevie Bradley and Jamie Murphy in over Mueller, then there's obviously a reason for that. Like Jack said, he's just finished a season, so he's probably like he's probably could have done with a wee rest. And I think he'll start Thursday, but it was sort of really what I expected, you know, with Henderson missing, with Melkerson not getting his work permit, with Harry Clark unfortunately getting injured. And obviously, like, there's not really much you could do with the way, and obviously Dylan Tate being ill, there's obviously no much in the way you can do with the new guys yet. But no, I think it was a very expected lineup, to be honest.
I think it was. I think Maloney had to sort of do a wee bit of a makeshift team as well because he was missing Porteous at the back, who's, you know, for me has been our rock this season. In terms of just his overall game, you know, he's no fear to take the ball at his feet. He's no fear to fly into a tackle, like we all know, and obviously he can pop up with a goal here and there as well. So I think missing him was a big hole sort of in the defence to start with, and then because I think he's probably one of the first names in team sheet, and you build the back four or back three around him. Again, I had Stevenson over Doig just for experience, and I think I had Mueller starting ahead of Dre Wright. So that was a wee bit of a surprise for me. Yeah. So let's get into some of the big talking points for the game. Obviously, you've got that Nisbet chance in the first 2 minutes. Has he got to do better? What's your opinion, guys?
I think you know, having seen it last night when you know, from the stand, I thought, oh, he's fluffed it, like, you know, it's an absolute sitter. But having seen it back, I think I don't know if he actually expects the ball to come to his feet. I think he probably expects Carter Vickers to deal with it, or Joe Hart to pick it up. But like he went, even then, like when the ball comes to him, he goes with the outside of his foot, like just like if you toe poke it or if you get a decent enough connection, that's going in the net. But like I think on the lead up to that though, like brilliant work for Boyle and Cadden to get the ball in the box, because that was a good bit of play. But I think he probably should have at least scored. Probably, like, there's no, you can't if you're that early in the game as well, 2.5 minutes in, if we score that, different game, and then obviously Celtic run up the pitch and score a minute later. But I think it's a big chance wasted, and that's the types of chances you should be putting away in games like this.
Exactly, yeah. For me personally, just before I come on to Jack, I think he has got to score it. There's no two ways about it. He's our main striker. He's got to put that. He's got to put it in the back of the net. It's his job at the end of the day. However, when I seen it on the highlights, when I seen it as I was watching it live, I seen it looked like he was extending. It looked like it was just maybe a yard or half a yard in front of for where he expected, and it looks like he just sort of jabbed at it with sort of a toe poke. 9 times out of 10, that goes in the back of the net. 9 times out of 10, or it hits off a body and it ends up in the net or something like that. I think he's really unfortunate. However, I do think that, to me, it just screamed that he was so low on confidence. I think you can tell he's low on confidence, because if you're talking about a young, hungry striker, I mean, that's a dream to have that on a plate. Do you know what I mean? He should have scored that. I think he's probably been. I don't know if he's seen it at the last second or if he's seen it at the last minute. He's not had time to adjust. Like I said, he was stretching, or I don't know if it's came to him when he's maybe a bit nervous and thinking, I'm going to miss this, I'm going to miss this, I'm going to miss this. Like, do you know what you do when you play football at fives of that? And like, Ken, you have not been playing great and folk are getting on your back, and that, Ken, it only feeds into that sort of insecurities I think he might have had. And I think it has changed the game, obviously. What do you think, Jack? Anything different, or would you?
I think for me is and I've said, I don't know how many times I've said it, I'm just getting fed up with this. Like, how many of them is he going to miss? And I know, like, you can talk about till the cows come home, but at the end of the day, there is a major attitude problem in Nisbet, I think. And you could talk about confidence. I just think he struts about the pitch like he owns the place sometimes.
Yeah.
And in other times, he just looks like he can't be bothered. And I think that's not what we need. And I think the good thing about Maloney recalling Bradley, who is a decent young player, and about, getting Mueller. Mueller can play striker or centre forward if need be. Is I think that's sending a message to Nisbet that your place isn't safe in the team. Same with Melkerson as well. As soon as Melkerson's work permit comes through, I'd be playing Melkerson over Nisbet. It's as simple as that. And I think Nisbet's ran out of chances for me. He looks petulant as well to me sometimes on the pitch. Like, he'll go like that or whatever when he doesn't get the ball where he wants it. Like that. But you've got to be doing the work. And I think I agree with Charlie, though, is you've just got to stick a foot out, because if he toe pokes that, that's going in. And we go 1-0 up against Celtic at Parkhead. That's it. They're rattled. That swings the momentum of the game. Then they go up the other end and score. It's got to say, fair play to Celtic. It was a decent move by them. I think they play some good football under Postecoglou, I've got to say. But at the same time, we shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't miss a sitter and then let them go all the way up the other end of the park and score. So, yeah, I think I'm just massively frustrated by Nisbet at this point. And obviously, I'm not going to, say anything about his situation. I don't know what's going on. But I am fed up of it. I want a striker that at least going to try with chances like that and, really just sort of have the hunger. I think that's what Melkerson will bring. It's definitely Melkerson over Nisbet, and I'm glad Maloney's brought another striker in, because it's what we've been crying out for quite a little while with Doidge. I think Doidge is probably never going to be back to how he fully was because of how serious his injury was. So I think getting Melkerson in was the right call, and I'm just, really frustrated by Nisbet. I think Melkerson would have scored that, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'll share your frustration with Nisbet. Like, the last couple of weeks, he has been, well, the whole part of the season, he has not been up to the standards of last season, obviously. I feel like you're saying, his overall attitude. It was one game for me earlier in the season. I think they were at Ibrox, and no, they were at home. I think they were at home to like St Mirren or something like that. And Cadden's run down the wing and he put the ball into the box, and it didn't go right to where Nisbet wanted, and he didn't move for it. And Cadden was kind of having a go at him, having a go back at him, Ken shouting at him, telling him to move and all of that, and he was moaning and that. So yeah, he's quite a moany striker.
It's been more than just that though. Like, I've seen it even like when he's missed a chance. He's like, last night he missed a chance and he goes and volleys the post. It's like, well, show that bit of passion when you've got the ball rather than when you've missed a chance. Like,
exactly. You know what I mean? That's the worst thing about him, is it's his behaviour after. Is he'll go and moan at other players because he feels he hasn't got the ball in the right place, or he'll go and boot the post or whatever. You know what? Didn't he boot the post? Boot the ball when you've got it at your feet. That's what you're meant to do. The post doesn't. You didn't meant to score with the post. You meant to score with the ball. I mean,
I would. There was another time last night where it was really confusing. The whole Nisbet thing was that during the first half, at some point, like, Boyle had went through the middle, and Nisbet went out wide right. It's like Nisbet is not a winger. Like, why are they even suggesting that? Like, if you're wanting to play a wide winger, then put Boyle up front and play Mueller for the start, Ken. Like, and I think what you are saying is right about him. Like, I think I'm glad that we've brought in some strikers and we've got more depth there, because his stake isn't claimed in this team. There's other players in that team that their place isn't safe anymore, and I think that's good. I think that's what we needed. But also, James Scott came off the bench, right, with about 10-15 minutes ago, and he showed more fight and more desire than Nisbet showed in the first 70 minutes. And it's just and like James Scott, who's been given a second chance, is obviously wanting to prove something. But like, if your sub striker's showing more than you are, then
it's worrying.
It's worrying for sure. It's worrying.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But at the same time, like, I think the reason Hibs were so good last year is because they played two up front. Do you know what I mean? Like Nisbet and Doidge. I feel a wee bit sorry for Nisbet as well, because the service he's had this year has been poor. It's not like he's been having, like, for me, it's not like he's had. Obviously, that chance there was laid in a plate from, but he's not had many of them this season where it's laid in a plate and he's missed it. Do you know what I mean? Like absolute sitters. I don't feel like the service has been good enough. Like, we've been too defensive. He played a lot better last time when Drew was up there alongside him and could bring him into the game by his hold up play and things like that. Like, for me, Nisbet's having to create a lot of chances himself this year, and I think the fact that there has been no competition probably hasn't pushed him. He's played a lot of minutes as well, and I think you can see he's got talent. I mean, you see his goal against the Netherlands when he came on, for Scotland. And I just feel like he does think he's better than he is. I'm not going to lie. I do think he feels like he's better than he is. But he's got to score that chance. And then, obviously, deja vu, very similar to the cup final. 40 seconds later, Celtic got the pitch and score. What's going on with defending?
Well, it all starts with Josh Campbell, and he's like fanning about with the ball.
In the wrong place, completely wrong place to do it. And then
turns back on himself, gives it to Doig, who then gets rid of the ball, or at least attempts to Celtic pick it up. Hanlon's going backwards instead of forwards, which is my biggest problem with Hanlon. Doesn't he step up? Gives Rogic the easy pass to Maeda, I think that's how you say his name, and obviously the defence is split because they're not expecting it. But
can you give us your thoughts?
As a whole, we should be doing a lot better there. Like, Celtic shouldn't have had the opportunity, and it all comes from mucking about in the wrong part of the pitch and backwards passing again, and just it's an easy goal that is avoidable. Like most of our goals have been that we've conceded this season.
I agree as well. You're looking at it and it's like it's been a problem all year, and how that's not been sussed out yet is beyond me. Like, I can see Maloney's obviously trying to address the problems. It is a new back line. That back line's never played together before. Do you know what I mean? So they are going to take time to gel, and I think Porteous is a massive miss. I think he's a massive miss. I think he's probably our best defender in terms of all-round attributes and what it contributes to the team. And I think it was a massive miss last night. And I think as the game went on, you could argue it's similar to the one at Easter Road. We got better as the match went on, but we're already 2-0 down at that point. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the defending, I can see that it's an area that Hibs have tried to address by going out and putting money on Harry Clark, and also putting money down on signing Rocky. So they are trying to address it. I just think with injuries and that to the squad, it has been unfortunate, and that is something they're going to have to seriously work on. Because even if we're not even hard to beat with our defending, do you know what I mean? We haven't been very good this year, but we haven't even been hard to beat. And I think that's a sucker punch of it. We're not scoring enough, but we're conceding. So it's not like we can even outscore them. It's been really stale. Jack, any thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I think I've got to agree with that. To me, the defence, I think it's not Maloney's fault. That I think that was a makeshift team, as we were saying. You've got Porteous suspended from the Aberdeen, because he obviously got suspended retrospectively. And same with McGinn. McGinn got a retrospective suspension as well. So that's an issue, because you've got two sort of players that are used to playing each other. I think so. It was a makeshift defence, but I want to pick up on what Charlie said about Campbell. Campbell had a not great game at all. You know, it was like night and day from when he went in against Rangers. He was brilliant in the semi-final, and then he's went to Parkhead and had that. And I know he's a young player, and hopefully you've got to hope that he'll develop out of that. But I think that was just, you don't do that. You don't muck about with the ball like that. I just think it's not on. You know, no matter how old or young you are as a player, you know it's 101. You didn't hold the ball, especially not against
especially that close to your own goal as well.
Yeah,
like.
exactly.
It's a hospital ball he gives Doig as well. Doig can't do anything with it, and he has to just get rid of it. But aye, you're right, mate.
It was a bad one, and then I think the defence, it was just unfortunate. I think had we got the full strength team, we wouldn't have been as bad last night. I don't think.
I think you've got to raise the question though. Like, if say we have every defender available, is Hanlon your club captain? Is his place safe?
It's not to me.
It's not. I
think
we've been beating that drum for a while. Do you know what I mean?
But like, even like, if you look at it, like Rocky's Rocky, for my money, was very, very good last night, and he came into the game. But him and Porteous are very similar players. Then you've got Harry Clark, who's big and muscly, and like as a physical player. We've seen that at Easter Road when he nailed McGuinness after a couple of minutes. But like, you've got like, and Maloney obviously wants to play out for the back. So as your McGinns and your Hanlons and even your Doigs, are their positions like even safe anymore? You know, and I think that's a really good place to be at. I think, because when Hanlon's been out of form or Porteous has been out of form, there's nobody to come in and replace them. Whereas now we've got that, and I think that's a good place to be at. Because I would like to see us mix up the defence, not too often. I'd like a bit of consistency, but even if it is like dropping Hanlon for a week, or I think it maybe do him the world of good.
Yeah, the squad depth is something that it's going to go in our favour now as well. The fact we've got that depth there at that position in particular, so that's going to serve us well going forward. Like, I definitely think so. Just to touch on it as well, like, I mean, I think this sort of style of football that Postecoglou's brought to Scotland is not something that we're too familiar with seeing. Ange ball, as they say in the SPFL, you know, the constant pressure and the attack. Do you think teams are taking a while to try and get used to that particular style? Because it's putting a hell of a lot of people under pressure. And just like us at Easter Road, you know, we're 3-0 down very quickly. You know, they start very fast, Celtic. Is that something that we could have perhaps anticipated better?
Yeah, I think so. You know, we know how. I think, to be honest, I'm going to say this, and a lot of Celtic fans maybe disagree, and maybe a lot of other Hibs fans would disagree. But I think Postecoglou is a one-trick pony. He sets up very similar a lot of the time, and I think, you know, because we are in a league where you play each team 3 times and then potentially 4 after the split, you should be used to that. We know how we operate from Easter Road. Maloney, I'd assume, had been watching Postecoglou and will have known about him and will have been aware of him from the international sphere, because obviously Postecoglou was part of the Australia setup around the same time as Belgium, and obviously there's a potential of friendlies and everything like that, these sort of intercontinental friendlies. So you'd assume he'd be aware of Postecoglou and how he operates. So I think for me it's something we should have anticipated, but at the same time I think we set up right. But the problem of being so open against a team that play that sort of football is you're going to get punished. You're going to get punished when they press you, unfortunately, if you are so open. I think had that been Jack Ross, and I'm not saying this is the answer either, like, I'm not, absolutely not, but had that been Jack Ross, we would have been a lot more closed ranks, which still isn't great against a team like that, as we saw against East Roads. I think it's trying to strike a balance between attack and defence when you play a Postecoglou team. For me, that's what it is. It's about getting it balanced and, you know, going back and defending when you need to, but also going forward when you need to as well. Because Postecoglou's teams are all focused on pressure and attacking, and they don't really, if they get caught out, like you've seen it when Rangers played them, if they get caught out, they get caught out badly. And you've seen it when they played the Jambos at the start of the season as well. And I know they were just developing as a side and they hadn't made some of their new signings then, but I think you could see that Hearts caught them out. And I think the thing is, it's about playing smart against Celtic as well. You've got to play smart. You've not got to you can't do the sort of traditional Scottish thing, if you like. You've got to be a bit more clever when you play Celtic. So, in which I begrudgingly admit that's what Hearts did against them at Tynecastle. And I never like saying anything nice about them. Robbie Neilson got it spot on when they played, and that's a fact. That's the only time you'll ever hear me say that. By the way, that Robbie Neilson got anything spot on, but I think he got spot on against Celtic, and I think that's it. It's about playing intelligent against them, and it's about getting that balance against Celtic. Because if you go too defensive, they'll punish you. If you go too attacking and open, they'll punish you. So it really is a tough one. But Postecoglou has Celtic playing some good football, and it is sort of difficult to play against. But at the same time, it's something that we should have been aware of and we should have been switched on to, because we know it from the game at Easter Road. And I think it was a very similar Celtic system to the one that they played at Easter Road.
Yeah, I think like I'm saying, I think the type of football he's playing is pretty frightening at times, and it's pretty good to watch. Any closing thoughts on the match, Charlie?
I think I think overall all right. Celtic's second goal, we've not covered that. How Willie Collum's given that, I don't know. It's not the penalty. He's not seen it. He's only given it because Celtic fans have claimed for it, and it's the same. And it's the same with Porteous's red card against Rangers at Ibrox. He's only whoever, I can't mind who was in charge that day. His names went for me, but the referee's only given that because Rangers fans have called it. And those two are the ones that complain that all the decisions go against them, when in actual fact all the decisions go towards them. You've seen that in the final. Like, we should have a penalty, but John Beaton or John Cheaton, as some people call him, he never gave it. And I think obviously second half we came out, we looked a wee bit better, but the game's lost at that point. 2-0 up. Hibs never had 2 goals in them last night, unfortunately. But I think it's encouraging signs. I think people forget that it's only Maloney's 3rd game. And I think it's a work in progress. Like, Sir Alex Ferguson never won all those trophies overnight at Man U. Klopp's not changed Liverpool overnight. It takes time. And I think this is the time, or this is the manager that we need to give the most time to, I think, because I think we've got a diamond on our hands. And I think if the fans can get behind them and get behind the players, and obviously enjoy the ride, then I think we're in for a good few years. But I know, like, a frustrating night, but also, like, I wasn't too disappointed after it, because we had more of the ball than Celtic, and when does that ever happen? And I think there was signs there that we are trying to play better football, and I think the next 2 games are more important than last night was. So aye.
Yeah. So we'll round off that, lads. Let's have a look at the Cove game then. Going forward, what are you thinking of the Cove match? You're going, Charlie. Jack, you're going and all?
I am going, and I think, you know what? I think it's one that I'm confident for, obviously. Cove are obviously playing in League One. They're top of League One right now. Their last match was a 1-0 win against Montrose, which I say they had to work very, very hard for against Montrose there. But League One's really, really tight this season. So, it's a league where any team could beat any team, to be honest. But yeah, I think I am quite confident for that one. Obviously, the last time we played them, it was a 2-1 win. It was in the 2020 League Cup group stage. I think I'll be more confident this time round, if I'm being honest. Obviously, we're at Easter Road, and back then we had to play a severely rotated team, including David Gray, because we had a lot of players out on internationals, a lot of injuries back then. And the weird way the League Cup worked in 2020 meant that obviously we had a lot of players out and everything like that, and we had a high volume game. So I think I'll be a lot more confident this time round. So yeah, I'm full of confidence for it. It'll be good to get the Scottish Cup campaign kicked off in style as well. So hopefully it'll be a big one.
Okay. So heading into the match, in terms of last night's team that faced Celtic, what would you do? What changes would you make? Do you think that we need to have sort of like Arsenal used to do? They used to have a cup keeper, or perhaps a cup squad. So they play different squads in different cups. Obviously, the Scottish Cup is a much more prestigious cup and one we like to get our hands on. But even in this early stage, with Maloney being able to try out different things, what would you like to see the starting 11 be ideally?
I think he'll rotate the squad. I think he'll give. Well, I hope he gives Dabrowski a chance, because for my money, Matt Macy is not the one to be our keeper, because I'm not confident with him in goals. So I'd have Dabrowski and I think you and Henderson will start. I think Rocky will start. I think Dylan Tate, if he's better for his illness, I think he'll start. I think you've got the potential of some of the younger boys as well, like Maloney said that he wants to use some of the academy boys. So I think maybe Stevie Bradley will probably get a game, and I think also I think he might. I hope he drops in this bit and gives somebody else a run. But whether that's James Scott or whether that's Mueller up front or whether that's Doidge, but I think he will rotate the squad, and I think he'll give people that haven't really played a lot of football some time. Wouldn't it surprise me if a lot of boys just drop out the squad altogether? Just give them a proper rest, because we've got a couple of important games coming up in the run up to the derby as well. So I wouldn't surprise me if he has a proper rotated squad on Thursday.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. I think, but I think definitely dropping this bit for me. He's got to learn that things like that have got to go punished. They don't go unpunished. They've got to be punished for it. And I think for me, it's a front two: Scott and Bradley, or Bradley and Mueller. For me, I think Bradley deserves his chance because he was decent for Ayr when he was out on loan, and he's a decent young player. The boy's got a lot of potential. So I think that's the front two I'd like to see against Cove is Scott and Mueller and Bradley. I think Tate, if he's feeling up to it, I'd like to see Tate play. I think it would be good because he was been absolutely fantastic for Wraith Rovers when he was out there on loan. So when we loaned them back in before, obviously we signed them. So I think, yeah, I'd like to see Tate. I completely agree about Macy being dropped for Dabrowski, because I think it's something that, obviously I watch a lot of German football, it's something that each German team does, is even like 4th and 5th division teams have a cup keeper. So they always play the substitute or backup goalkeeper in the cup, which I think is good to see. And I think Dabrowski deserves that chance because he is a good keeper. And if he impresses Maloney, you never know, that might be him getting a start. If Maloney likes his technique over Macy, then that might be him getting a start more regularly, which I'd love to see because Dabrowski is a really good keeper. And if this is his chance to make it big, this is it. He's getting too old to be left on the bench now. So I definitely think Dabrowski should get a chance. But apart from that, yeah, Henderson as well. I think he goes in there just to get him a run out. And hopefully Melkerson's work permit's over the line in time. I don't see that happening because obviously there's a lot of red tape involved in these sorts of things. But hopefully it comes over the line. And the one thing I was going to say about Melkerson's work permit is I don't get how Livy got that Russian goalkeeper's permit quicker than we got one for a Norwegian player. When Norway's in the European Common Travel Area, which Britain is still in. You don't need to be an EU member state to be part of the Common Travel Area, but Russia isn't. I'm just going to say that. And also, what country poses more of a threat to international security as well? I'm just going to say that. I don't think Norway's trying to invade Ukraine anytime soon, but I think, yeah, I'm perplexed by that one. But hopefully Melkerson's work permit gets through it because I would like to see him play. I think if he's available for it, I think Maloney will start him against Cove. I could see that, and I'd love to see Bradley and Melkerson up front together because that would just be absolutely sexy. That's all I've got to say. I can't find a better word there, but I think it would be brilliant. Melkerson and Bradley, but for me, the main thing running through it, and I know I said it a million times, but Bradley. Please play Bradley because the boy deserves his chance. He is a decent young player. And I know an Ayr United fan and they spoke very highly. Despite Ayr not having the greatest campaign this season, they did speak quite highly of Bradley.
Do you think he'll play higher up the park, Jack? Because in pre-season he was sort of like sitting in the middle of the park. Do you think he's more of an attack mind? Like even if it was like playing behind the strikers, do you think that's...
I think to me you could play him as a second striker. Or you could play him as a centre forward or a central attacking mid. So you could play him as a centre forward or a CAM, or like I said, a second striker. So play him sort of like, I know people can't because my green screen's getting mucked about with here, but so you play him sort of behind the striker, just so you know how a second striker works, or even a shadow striker to use Football Manager terms. Yeah, but I think you'll play him in the middle, either just behind the striker, or he'll play up front, just sort of supporting whoever gets played alongside them. So I would definitely like to see Bradley playing that role. And it's against a team like Cove. He's proved that he can compete in the Championship. So against a team like Cove, that's his bread and butter. Those are the sort of teams that he's used to playing.
Yeah, I think in terms of changing the team and that, I think you need to be careful because I think Maloney's trying to find a starting 11 that he can gel together. I don't think he's found his best 11 yet. So I think that's one thing to bear in mind. However, I do quite like the idea of changing it up for the cup, just so really we as a fan base can see some of the new signings. Like obviously Melkerson's like a must. Everybody's dying to see him and see if Reindeer Hot Dog knows his stuff or not. And folk are also dying to see like Mueller. I mean, it's been over a month, so I'm not buying the myth that he's no fit or anything like that. Like the guy wants. If
I
you look
think
at socials and that, you can see, he and even talking to the guy at Orlando City, like he'll be ready, and it's sort of the energy he brings as well. Like I don't think he's going to be sitting around on his arse the last month. I think he would have been keeping himself fit in that.
I think sometimes like I've seen on like Twitter, and I think people might maybe have forgot that Mueller's just played a full season in America, so I think he's probably needing that wee bit of time, and I think I do think though, like Cove on Thursday is probably a good even if it is he's coming off the
even
bench,
45 minutes.
give him a half or
give him a half, exactly.
Give him half an hour or 60 minutes or just
Mm.
give him some game time because he'll need to get adjusted to the way that Scottish football works. Obviously watching it in the stands is different to playing in it. So
Yeah.
I think this is we'll probably see him play for a wee bit on Thursday.
Yeah,
even if it's not a start, I think it will be, like you said, a half an hour. I think it's a better game for him to get eased into, especially, and I think that's the point that I've got to ram home as well, is he has just played, and the MLS is a very demanding season because you've got to play all the games in your conference, and then you go off into the playoff system for the MLS Cup as well. So it is a busy old campaign, and you've got all the different regional cups and everything in America as well. So it's a difficult one, and obviously there's big distances, especially I was playing in the Western Conference, so you're having to play teams like Vancouver Whitecaps. You're going from Northern Canada all the way down to Florida. So I think it is a tough season in the MLS. So he's got to get used to that. He's got to adapt to a new country, obviously climate here, and I think a lot of people go, oh, but the Americans at Hibs women. I've got to say, two of them have come from Europe already, so they're used to how the season worked in Europe and everything like that. And also, Alexa had come well after her season had ended in the college system, so they could adapt quicker and they could get put in quicker because they come at the start of the season, whilst Mueller's come halfway through. So I'd say don't have too much of a comparison about how Tony, Alexa, and Gabby just went straight in, because it's completely different. Like I said, Tony and Gabby were playing in America. I'm playing in Europe, sorry, and Alexa's season in America had finished. Bear in mind, she's not playing league football; she's playing college football as well. So, yeah, I think Mueller, it's going to take time, and people have just got to be patient with that because you can't just get him, because you get him out there and he gets himself injured, there would be a mutiny.
Yeah, I know. I think for me, people are just sick. For me personally, I'm sick of seeing Jimmy Murphy. Like I do want to see Jimmy Murphy the game. Like it's boring. He's had his chance. Like last night when I seen him getting subbed on before Mueller, you're just sitting there like that's the type of stuff that I can understand why folk get frustrated, because I get frustrated.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
I just think like even 20 minutes, like give Mueller 20 minutes, like he's had a month off. Like who gets a month off their work? Do you know what I mean? No many folk. So I think he's had enough time. Like I think I'd like to see him injected as soon as we can. Personally, it's just a personal opinion, but I think for me, there's a lot of players in that squad that I think haven't contributed enough this season. I think, like you're saying about Nisbet, I mean, I don't know, I'm a hit or miss with Nisbet. Like I'm not his biggest fan. He's not my most favourite player to ever play for Hibs or even need it, to be honest with you. Like he's all right. Like I don't think he's as good as strikers we've probably had in the past. I mean, I feel like for him, maybe keeping him in for confidence would maybe be a good thing in terms of confidence boost. Like, surely he should be able to tuck away a few goals or get on the end of like. I'd like to see him link up with maybe like a Ewan Henderson in the middle. If he's anything like his brother, a couple of nice through balls and that, into his feet. I'd like to see maybe Dodge get a run out as well, like someone who can hold it up. And like, I'd like to see Nisbet in a two, like putting him up front in his own or like relying on Boyle. It's like it's getting a bit old. I feel like I said, the way at the start, like a lot of teams have sussed us out, and I think we need to be more versatile. And I think I'd like to see Nisbet kept in the squad, because I think if you take him out, like I'll teach him a lesson in that, but I don't know what it'll do for his confidence. He already seems to be in like quite a bad place. So I don't know. We'll either go one or two ways. Either gain him a rest in that and let him time to think of that and sit there and watch might make him a bit hungrier, or he could, get a couple goals and kick on for the second half of the season. But yeah, just to round up on a couple score predictions then, boys.
Jack, you go first.
I've got to go first. I'm going to say 3-0 Hibs. I'm going to say 3-0 Hibs. If Stevie Bradley scores, he's going to get one. If he plays, he's going to get one. I think Henderson will get one if he plays, and I think I'm going to go for James Scott to get his first Hibs goal as well.
Charlie?
I'll go 4-1 Hibs. I think probably we're looking at James Scott scoring. At least I hope he scores. Like, I've been banging on this drum about him scoring ever since he came. So I hope I'm proved right once.
That didn't happen with Murphy though, did it, mate? So maybe knock that on the head.
I know. And then Murphy scored. I think James Scott. I think I'd like to see like Newell or Doyle Hayes pick one up. I think that might do them a week, like, because they didn't shoot. So if they shoot and they score, they might do it more often. I think I'd like to see Big Rocky get one. He's a big unit, so I think a corner perfect for him. And then I'd like if Mueller plays, I'd like him to get a goal because that'll do him the world of good. And I couldn't
Cove's goal 5.
I couldn't really care less who scores for them, mate. I hope also that in that we get to abuse Paul Hartley for 90 minutes at the touchline. So no better value for money than that. So I'm looking forward to it.
So Calvin,
I was going to say, actually say 4-0 Hibs. I think it'll be 4-0 Hibs. I'm not going to put scorers in that thing because I'm not very good at that. But I'd always like to see Mueller score. Like to see Dre Wright get a goal just to boost his confidence. We'd like to see Nisbet on the score sheet as well. I
think, come on, mate, that ship sailed on Nisbet. He could probably go down to the park with some kids kick about and he still wouldn't score at this rate.
Nah, come on. Right, let's move on to the women's team, lads. So
I'm in my element now.
It was Hibs 1, Celtic 1 at the weekend there. I'll just quickly run through the team lineup. It was much in goals. You had Leishman, Muir, Hunter, McGregor, Kavanagh, Gallagher, Notley, Murray, Coyle and Boyle. So something that jumped out at me was Emily Much keeps the goalkeeping gloves, the number 1 shirt, after her performance against Hearts just before the end of the year there. What's your initial reaction to that, guys? I think I was the one that got it right with the old 1-1 prediction.
Yeah, you did. I think that was good, but I was a bit more confident. I thought we were going to win. And to be fair, we put a good performance. But I wasn't surprised about Much at all because I think she deserves that chance, and she spoke really well in her interview that we did on here. If you haven't watched that yet, you can go and watch it. I think it was a brilliant interview with Emily. She spoke really well about how she wants to prove herself and still get her chances. I think that's right. And fair play. And I think Gabby's a professional. She'll know that Emily deserves her chances. So yeah, I was happy to see Emily in goal because she deserved it. She deserved another chance after her excellent performance at Tynecastle, and she did well. And I think you know what I'm going to say about the starting 11, about a certain somebody missing, because I say this every time, is where was Tony? We need to see Tony play.
There must be something else going on there, though, Jack. Like Charlie said, there must be something else going on.
I don't think it's it's obviously not injury because she's training, and we would know if she's injured. And it's obviously not anything to do with her ability because, as I've said so many times before, she's an excellent player, and I saw that against Rangers, and I saw that in the game she played where she started against Aberdeen in the League Cup quarter-final, and she was absolutely fantastic alongside McGregor in that game. So I don't know what's going on there, but I think Tony, to me, she'll be away at the end of the season. She's not going to leave anytime soon because I think...
I get that vibe as well. I think she'll be away. I think she'll probably go back.
If she was going to leave now, she would have just terminated her contract when she went back home, and she would have looked for a new club in America, I would have assumed, over the Christmas break. But yeah, I think it is frustrating because she is a good player, but at the same time, we've got an excellent midfield, and with Maloney back from injury now, it is a tough midfield to break into. But apart from that, I was very, very happy with the lineup. It's as I expected to me. And like I said, I was glad Much got her chance again because she's been outstanding. I think Gabby maybe lost a bit of confidence after the League Cup semi-final and her performance against Glasgow City. So I think it's fair play that Much is getting an opportunity. She was absolutely outstanding again against Celtic for me.
So to go on to So I watched the match. I seen it on the Alba. Celtic put us under quite a lot of pressure at the start as well. Obviously they've went professional, so they've turned professional, and they put us under quite a lot of pressure, and we weathered the storm quite well, and we kept ourselves in the game. We obviously fell behind with the penalty decision. Siobhan gave a penalty away. Was a stonewaller, to be fair.
It was
I think the
watched the
look on her
highlight.
face said it all, which was quite funny. But again, up steps Emily with another excellent save.
It was.
And then shortly after, just before the half, we concede. What were your sort of thoughts on the first half performance and conceding the goal so late?
I thought first half was just what I thought. Like, we've seen that in Stirling. Celtic do put us under a lot of pressure. But I thought we played all right. But definite penalty, good save though. Like another fantastic save for Emily. She must just be confident stepping up, like she said when she was on here, that she's not conceding. And I like that. But sucker punch to lose it that late in the half. But I thought it was just how I expected the first half to go, except obviously conceding.
Sorry to interrupt you, but it was a bad time to lose the goal. But to be fair, like saving the penalty and that, like, kind of swings and roundabouts were a wee bit unlucky. In the second half, though, it looks like Dean's team talk sort of worked a wee bit, Jack. Hibs came out; they were much more on the foot. Looked a lot more aggressive. They put Celtic under quite a lot of pressure and had a few chances themselves. Just thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, I think first of all you left me out for my thoughts on the first half, so I'm upset.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
Nah, sorry, but no, seriously, I think the first half we were decent in the first half, and I think I've got to agree with most of what Charlie said. I think it was an excellent ball from Jacinta for Wellings' goal. I think that was fantastic, and you can see why how Jacinta's not got a senior call up for the Australia squad yet. I don't know, because she's been fantastic. She's Celtic fans are jokingly calling her the female Rogic now. So obviously Celtic have got Rogic as from Australia first team. So and they play a similar position, Jacinta and Rogic as well. But yeah, it was an excellent ball over the top. Welling, I don't know what it is, but Wellings just loves a goal against us, because she scored against us in the game in the last game in the league. She scored the late winner. So
that's right, yeah.
I think it was a great move by Celtic, and there wasn't much we could have done differently there, to be honest. I think the penalty, stonewaller, and Shiv knows that. And I think, to me, she's a bit like Porteous in the sense that obviously she's Hibs through and through, and I think sometimes she just gets a bit, she likes to launch into the tackle. Siobhan's a very passionate player, and she knows she's experienced, she's a professional. She held her hands up and was like, Emily saved my bacon there, but I think it was a penalty. I don't think there was any sort of malice in it. It was just a bit of a bad challenge, and then Emily stepped up. Outstanding save from Emily again. She's got the confidence, and I think that's it. Again, I've got to agree with Charlie what you were saying about how she talked on the podcast. It was brilliant, and she's just an excellent player, Emily Much, and she's an excellent young goalkeeper. I can definitely see her playing for Scotland in the future. You look at it, Lee Alexander's going to be looking at retiring soon, and Jenna Fife, even though she's an excellent goalkeeper, again, she's not getting any younger. So Emily should be trying to get herself in there with the Scotland setup, definitely. Second half, I thought we went out and, Dean got it spot on for me in the second half. The way he set us up for the second half, excellent. Bringing Maloney on, I thought that was an inspired substitution. You're sort of struggling with a bit of creativity, even though we're sort of bossing the game, we weren't really doing anything with it, but he goes, right, I've got to bring on an attacking player. He takes Shannon Leishman off, brings on Maloney, who's obviously a creative attacking midfielder, and then suddenly we just started getting more done in the midfield and becoming more creative. And then it was actually quite funny because I was in the car back from the City game. We had it on my phone in the back, and I think I made Laura near shit herself because I went, yes, Hibs, when Notley scored. I was going mental, and they said, Laura near shat herself. So if there'd been a crash on the M8, you would have known why. But I think it was just excellent. And we just didn't give up. The determination we showed at 1-0 down was absolutely fantastic, and fair play to Notley. She doesn't score often, but when she does, it's important. Her last goal was against Hearts in the 6-0 win at Ainsley Park, so that's been a while since she scored. And I thought it was excellent awareness from her, to be fair. I know it was a bit of a scramble, but just the way she sort of got to her feet and she knew what to do. She thought, right,
Yeah,
I've got an opportunity, just get a shot away, and that's it. It went in. I think the Celtic keeper could have maybe done a bit better in that situation, but having said that, there was
like 20 bodies in front of her.
There was a 20 bodies in front of her, and you could see she was raging. But fair play, we didn't give up, and we got her.
I was going to quickly jump in, Jack, and say to you, before the corner came in as well, it was like the last minute or something, like last couple of minutes, and it was quite funny because you seen Notley and you seen Alexa jumping up, like pretending to do a header. So they were obviously ready for it and fighting till the end, which I thought was quite good, mate.
It is. And that's what we need to see, because I think we missed that against Rangers and Celtic the last times we played them, because I think like Rangers, we went 1-0 down, and then after that we sort of looked like we had our heads down a bit. And the same against Celtic, like in the League Cup semi and at the game in the league, we've just, we sort of concede and go, well, that's it. So I think it was great, just the determination. And I know it's something we want to work on, is getting the monkey off our backs with the Glasgow 3. And, I said it when in the run-up to the League Cup semi-final, is we don't even need to beat them. As long as we take points off them and show that we're not afraid of them and that we can play against them, that's it. And I think we're playing Rangers next away, and that's another tough game. But if we can play anywhere near that good like we did against Celtic, and with the determination we had against Celtic on Sunday, then for me, definitely we can get a point off the Rangers as well, which would be great. An unbeaten start to the year would be fantastic, because things become a bit easier for us in the league after that, up until we play Glasgow City. So for me, I was really impressed. And it's a well-earned point. I've got to say to the girls, I was gutted I couldn't make it. Well, obviously duty called at City. And I did get to see 16 goals in that game, to be fair. So it was a bit more of a goal fest than that. But yeah, to be fair to the girls, every single one of them put in a determined performance and gave it 100%. And fair play to Dean as well. I think he deserved that result. I think people know that sometimes I've been a bit annoyed with how our results against the Glasgow 3, but fair play to Dean, as he had the girls motivated and he had them up for it. So hopefully this is a sign of improvement against the bigger teams, and showing that even though they're ahead in terms of their financial side of it and their money and the spending they get on players and that, I think we're proving that we're still not afraid to compete with them, because we've got the players that are good enough to do it. So I was very, very happy with the result, a well-earned point, and at the end of the day you'll take that against the likes of Celtic and Rangers.
Aye, absolutely. So that sort of brings the pod to an end for this week. We'll probably be back out later in the week or starting next week, sort of with a review of the Cove game, and then leading into our next fixture as well. So until next time, lads, on the Hibs.